I have it on video of her telling the process server when he served the paperwork here that she wanted to cancel it. She lied. She wasn't going to tell me that she didn't cancel it. I had to ask.
Stop. Stop. We're in a court hearing. We're not sitting around the kitchen table. Stop. You don't hear lawyers doing this.
Lots of lawyers do it. She was lying to you when she said, I don't pay rent. She has dementia, sir. She keeps changing her mind.
All right. Well, you are a squatter.
Today we have 2 squatter cases in St. Joe County, Michigan. I'll warn you now, we don't get to see either of the squatters in the video, but we don't need video to learn how sleazy both are. In one case, we have a squatter who found an abandoned trailer on a piece of land and decided to plop down like he owned the place. Too bad, the real owner is on the hook for fines and costs related to the squatter's occupation. But first, we have a squatter who has taken advantage of her friend's godmother and moved into her home. Squatter comes out of the gate gaslighting Grandma and everyone else who had to hear it. You think Judge Middleton can smell the gas a mile away? Let's roll, nerds.
Good afternoon. Are you Cheryl Wilder?
Yes, I am.
Is that you, Jeffrey?
Yes, it is, sir.
How are you?
Doing well. Concerned about my mother at the moment, but doing well.
All right, Miss Wilder, I didn't make this connection. You're Cheryl Wilder?
Yes.
And Tara Hendricks is here by telephone. Ms. Risty is here on Mr. Rognus's case. You heard what I said. We're about to lose power, so let's try to take care of this. This is file 25717LT, and what Ms. Hendricks said, Ms. Wilder, is that you had changed your mind and you no longer wanted her to move out?
No, that's not true.
All right, that's what I suspected.
I have it on video of her telling the process server when he served the paperwork here that she wanted to cancel it.
Well, she did.
I have it on video.
She didn't cancel it. So let's go through.
I know she lied. She didn't tell me until about 2 hours ago today that it wasn't canceled.
All right, well.
And she wasn't going to tell me that she didn't cancel it. I had to ask.
Stop. Stop. You don't have the ability to even come in here. So I gave you the courtesy of doing this by telephone. You don't just blast off and talk about things. We're in a court hearing. We're not sitting around the kitchen table.
I didn't have the ability because I didn't find out until about an hour ago, and my vehicle is being used by my fiance who is at work.
All right.
That's not
Don't
true.
say anything again until I ask you to speak. Your landlord is asking you to move. She wishes to terminate your tenancy. And in a termination of tenancy case, you have certain rights. One of the rights is to hire an attorney. If you can't afford an attorney, you could ask legal aid if they could represent you in this matter. And there is a representative from legal aid here in the proceeding. You have a right to a trial by a jury or by the court. If you wish to have a jury trial, you have to be willing to pay the $50 jury demand fee and make the request today or make it in writing within 5 days using the appropriate jury demand form. You have a right to have the case heard in St. Joseph County where the property is located. Your landlord has asked you to move, which is called a termination of tenancy case. And as such, you're entitled to at least one adjournment of 7 days. If both parties are agreeable, the matter could be referred to mediation. But so far that's never happened. And if some other agreement is reached, there could be a conditional order of dismissal. So Ms. Wilder, you wish to have this person move from your home? Is that correct?
Yes. I want this
Who is Tara Hendricks to you?
Nobody. She's a daughter of a friend.
All right. And how long has she been living there?
5 months, maybe.
Is there a lease?
No.
Is there any rent?
No.
Now, let me advise you of this. Once you file this termination of tenancy action, you can't accept any rent. unless the court allows it. Ms. Hendricks, what's your position?
Your Honor, I have been paying rent. I am her goddaughter. She's known me her whole life. Like I tried saying, and I'm sorry, I should have waited for you to tell me to speak. I have a place waiting for me. It's just going to be ready at the end of the month. And like I said, and I do have video of it, she told me that I did not have to move out. When the process server showed up, which I have it on video, she even told him that he said he had to show up because she wasn't answering his phone calls. She said, yeah, because I don't want to go through with this with evicting her. And he said, okay, but you still have to pay this payment for us coming out here. And I have all of this on video. Up until about an hour and a half ago, I have been under the understanding that she was waiting for me for that landlord that is going to give me my house, well, rent it to me, to come back from vacation. She even told me this 2 days ago, that we were still fine. She's not evicting me. Well, I get up today and I hear her talking to my mother, who lives here with us, who they've been best friends for years. That's why Sherry's my godmother. I heard my mom saying, oh, you're still going to evict her, right? Because she smokes pot, which I do, but I smoke it outside. And Sherry said, no, I'm not going to. She has a place waiting for her. Jodelle said if Sherry did not evict me, that she was going to move out. Sherry does not want my mom to move out because she doesn't want to live here alone.
All right, well,
So then
just
so
a
then
minute, just
she
a
told
minute.
me that I have to leave.
All right, you do.
Which I'm fine with.
All right, she's not bound by that. The law requires that I adjourn stop. You don't hear lawyers doing this, and if you were here live in person, you'd be less inclined to do it. The law requires that
lots of lawyers do it.
the law requires that I adjourn this matter at least 7 days. I will not be here next Friday. I will be at a judicial conference. It's required. So,
did you say I could take this to trial? Is that what you said? And I could get a lawyer of my own?
yes, you can hire a lawyer of your own choosing, or you can ask that one be appointed, but they don't have court-appointed attorneys for civil matters. The legal aid attorney is here, and I'll give you her number. Right now, I'm going to.
That's what I would like to do.
All right, I'm going to continue this matter to May 12th, 2025 at 1:15. You're to appear either in person or by Zoom with video.
Okay. So what does that mean when you said trial? Well, I know what a trial is,
All right.
but.
Well, it is set for a trial for May 12th at 1:15. You have no lease, so you don't have the legal protections that a lease provides. She did file the action. That matter is heard. If she gets what she asked for, you will get 10 days from May 20 or May 12th to move out, which would be May 22nd. All right, now, the phone number at Legal Aid is 269-344-8113.
Okay.
And you can call them and see if you can discuss this. I'm not sure if you're eligible for representation or what the status is, but at this point, you should not be expected to pay any additional rent. That's simply a termination of tenancy matter.
So what do I do when it comes up? Because she was lying to you when she said I don't pay rent. What happens when I go to pay rent and she freaks out because she calls the cops on me for everything?
All right, well, don't pay rent. The problem is you don't have a lease, so you don't have any lawful right to remain there if she wishes you to move. So she's going through
I'm not fighting.
All right, so she served a notice to quit in February 26th for you to move by March 28th. You didn't move, so she filed this action. So I set a hearing, and then I agreed to adjourn it for 10 more days. So she's been asking you to move since at least February.
She has dementia, sir. She keeps changing her mind.
Well,
I'm not saying that to be rude, and I'm not trying to interrupt you, but I'm just putting that out there. She has dementia. She's not even going to remember this in a day. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just trying to tell you
all right.
what's going on.
well, at this point, that's the request. So you've got legal aid's number. We will reconvene here, and you need to be here with a video or in person at 1:15 on May 12th. All right, you're good to go. All right. We will revisit this matter in 10 days. And she does what she does here. I'm going to mute her microphone. But she can contact legal aid and see what they're willing to do.
And you should.
All right. Thank you. This is file 25572, Larry Jackson versus Scott Widener. It is a termination of tenancy action. Mr. Widener expressed some of the facts of this, that it's on a frame or something. I drove by there to try to figure out which place it was, and frankly, I couldn't discern what it was. Mr. Jackson wants possession of the property back. Mr. Widener was in the process of trying to get out of there. Mr. Widener, what have you accomplished?
I'm working on, the camper is ready to go. It's fine. I could move that somewhere and live in it. The existing part of the house, I take the skirting off. I board it up underneath because I insulated it over the winter. So as I move it, we don't want the wind to suck all the insulation out. So I put thin plywood laminate under there. Got the axle. I got somebody to weld it on. But I need a place to move it to. I've been looking into that. So getting off the property, that I can do. But Larry's worried about taxes now, because with what was there, taxes were $425. I called yesterday, the assessors. And with what I done away with, the garage is gone.
Is he gone, Mr. Pirak?
Yes, Your Honor. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but yes, yeah.
You're fine.
Yep.
All right, then you're good to go. I'll get the other parties in there. Wait just a moment, Mr. Widener.
Thank you,
All
Your
right,
Honor.
Mr. Pirak, did you guys reach an agreement?
Yes, yeah. I think we have. I have an agreement to present to my client, but
All right, discovery was completed?
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Ryan and Mr. Wallach, would you come back and we'll see if I can fumble my way through this. Mr. Wallach, you're under oath, and I don't know if you heard me. We may lose power at any moment, so if you're in there and it disappears, I apologize.
Not a problem.
And I'll put Mr. Wallach in there, and you can join it. All right, so those parties, after a long wait, were put in there. All right, Mr. Taylor, do you care, or Jackson, do you care if he moves this thing off of there?
Yeah, let me give you a real quick background, Judge. This was a place I purchased back in '96. It was a house trailer. And it's been about 4 years ago, I have property and I live in Marcellus area. Anyway, the plumbing froze, it was flooded, and it was, I think, beyond repair. So I was going to get a little excavator and a roll-on, roll-off and actually demolish the place and get rid of it. I showed up there, it was around July of last year, somewhere in July, I believe, and there's a pull-behind trailer, a pooch, and fencing up. And I had no idea. So I never had met Scott. I didn't know anything about him. He certainly wasn't a tenant at that time and still isn't. But he basically just took possession of the place. just as he has checked on my taxes there. So, you start to feel a little violated after a point. But he was, initially I said, you know what, after I met him, I said, Scott, why don't you get the trailer pull out, his pull behind trailer. And his truck something was going on with his truck. And he said, I need more time to get my truck up. Eventually, that didn't happen for some time, but he did get it going. But that trailer was still there. In the meantime, I started getting notices from Michael Hayden.
The zoning administrator.
Yeah, exactly. And Michael was like, hey, dude, you got to, initially he just said, you're going to be fine. You got a tenant there. Eventually I did get in contact and I explained to Michael that this was not a tenant. This was someone that just happened to show up and was there. And while he was there, he said, okay, I'll tear down the old garage for you and so on. I was going to, again, tear the whole thing down anyway, but said, okay, go ahead. And so he began tearing down, and then he apparently worked for Michael Hayden's brother off and on doing, construction or demolition work. I'm not sure of all the details there. Ernie is correct. So that was July, and I just felt bad. I didn't want to just throw him out and just put him off the property because I wanted him to be able to get his act together. And of course, then after September and November rolled around, it was becoming winter. And so I said, hey, Scott, if you can leave by early this spring, because I really wanted to get that thing torn down. And once you remove that, it's no longer a domicile. And I get rid of all of that. And then the taxes would go down. So that's where the tax thing came in. So that's where I'm at.
Well, do you care if he pulls the thing off of there?
He can have that trailer as long as the house trailer, what remains of it, he's welcome to it. Because I was just going to flatten it and throw it over in the dumpster. So I have no interest in it.
So, Mr. Widener, how'd you come to plop your stuff down on this guy's piece of property?
It was just, I've noticed it before that it was vacant for umpteen years and I had nowhere to go, so I parked the camper in there.
All right, well, you are a squatter, so.
Yes, it was.
You
And
got
then-
12 days to vacate. You can take the thing off there if you wish to, but you don't have to.
Well, that being, like I said, that's not hard to move it, but to find a place to put it.
They're not
that's why
gonna
I
let you,
checked
they're
the
not gonna let you
Texas.
cite that anywhere. It's a dilapidated, non-code compliant trailer. If you're gonna try to live in it.
No,
No township here that would let you do that.
that's what you gotta go to Cass County or
Yeah,
that.
Indiana or something, I don't know,
But as just a storage, because I emptied my storage from White Pigeon Storage,
mhm.
shut that down and built shelves in this section of what's left of the house. So it's basically a storage unit.
Well, this is your own fault. You just squatted on a piece of property. You did all this stuff. He's been asking you to move for months, and now I'm gonna order that you do it within the next 10 days.
Well, that's fine, but the one thing I was looking to do while I checked on the taxes is I offered to pay the taxes.
Well, he can't accept any money from you in light of the fact that he's wishing to terminate the tenancy. So he doesn't want you to pay anything right now. He just wants you to move.
I can move, or I will
Okay.
move, but if I can leave the building as a storage, they said the taxes now were like $425. If it was totally empty, it would be $182. And I said, with what I took down, he goes, is the garage gone? I go, yes. And half the house or more is gone. He says it's $225, but it cannot be assessed for at least 2 to 3 months. So I wanted to pay the taxes, if we could leave the building sit there while I find a place to put it,
He's
but
not,
not live there.
he's not interested in that. All right, you have 12 days, 10 days till May 12th to vacate. If you take the property off there, you work out some agreement with him, fine. But at minimum, you got to get your trailer off there and not reside on that property.
That I can, like I said, the camper's ready to go. It's just the stuff in the house. Because I emptied out of storage and was using that as a storage.
Well, that, which is quite presumptuous. You didn't own the property and you weren't paying any rent. And now the.
That's why we were working, I did the work in place of the rent. We had an agreement for that.
Again, nothing, but all you brought is grief on him. Now the zoning administrator's after him. There's not supposed to be anybody living there. There's no septic functioning in that spot or well.
Yeah, there is.
Well, there's a functioning well and septic?
Yeah,
Are you hooked up to the
Yeah.
septic?
yes.
You can't do that either. So, all right, you got 10 days to get your stuff out of there. I'm gonna ask the court officer to take you out. And, if he agrees to let you take that other property or do something with it, that's all right with me, but that's outside the province of my order. You just have to vacate within 10 days.
Okay.
All right, you're good to go.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoy watching this content, please like and subscribe. It helps new channels like this one gain exposure. There is a lot more good court to come, so if you like what you saw, tell your friends. If you didn't, tell me and let me know what you'd like to see and how I can improve. Thanks.